Hey guys, when we started this project, we were not sure how hard it would be to edit, record everything, and then eventually distribute. But then luckily, someone told us about Anchor. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. Secondly, they have creation tools that will allow you to record and edit directly from your phone or your computer. They distribute your podcast for you. And the best thing is you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Today on Paternity Court.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife?
Correct.
And you had a husband?
Yes.
All right, so you two were basically cheating on your spouses with one another?
Yes, Your Honor.
When she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself.
I was just the only child who didn't have a dad. I'll never know what it's like to go to a father-daughter dance, being able to have that bond. I'll never know that.
Yeah, I was a terrible father.
And that's why you're here, to right your wrongs.
Right.
Let's get the results for this family. Was that something you had prepared yourself at all for, honey? You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Matthews versus Thompson-Shaw.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made many mistakes in your life, but the worst is not being a good dad to the defendant's daughter, Kiana. You claim that has caused her to deny you are her daughter's father. You are here to prove the truth. She biologically is yours. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Shaw, you admit your daughter believed that Mr. Matthews was her dad, but now stand in court to prove that another man is her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made mistakes. Tell me about that.
When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I can understand that Ms. Thompson would want to act the way she does. When I tried to reach out to her on Facebook, she was kind of angry at me because of my episodes in my life.
So you're saying you were not a good father?
Not at all.
And so your belief is that this whole issue is surrounding your failure to be a good father?
That's true.
Is that true, Ms. Shaw?
No, Your Honor. I tried to make things right a long time ago. I tried to get a DNA test. And when we went before the magistrate, he looked at me and told him that he never slept with me.
Yes, it was true because
You told the magistrate you had never had a sexual relationship with Ms. Shaw?
I would say that I was a womanizer and went in there and lied.
Okay.
Amen.
So when he told this lie, what happened?
I looked at him, I turned around and I looked at his wife. And
Did somebody say wife?
Yeah, they both were married.
So and you had a husband?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife?
Correct.
No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. Okay. And you had a husband?
Yes.
All right. So you two were basically cheating on your spouses with one another?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So you get to the magistrate. He says, I've never had sex with that woman. And how does the magistrate rule?
The magistrate looked and asked me, did I want to go forth? And I told him no.
That wasn't what happened.
Oh, you were so angry at that point that he lied.
I was done. I never approached him after that point. His wife already knew at that point about Kiana. And she didn't have a problem because Kiana was going to their house before this took place and everything. It was just a blatant lie.
That ain't what happened. She was married, I was married. She was doing her own thing, I was doing my own thing. And the way I looked at it is we both was having fun. We both was young, you know, and when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be with no one woman. I already had a wife.
So the point is, when you stood in the courtroom with your wife and you said you never slept with Miss Shaw and you knew you weren't telling the truth, was that because you were scared to lose your wife, or is that
Yes.
because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
But Miss Shaw, you said that Kiana had already been going over to their house.
Yes.
So how old was Kiana when you were at this magistrate hearing?
She was 8.
Yeah.
8 years old?
Yes.
You're nodding too, Kiana, so you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So you
that
remember
child.
going over his house?
Yeah, at least once I remember going over for Halloween.
And your mother told you you're going over to your father's house?
Yes,
And you knew he had a wife?
and other kids.
And other children. What do you remember?
I remember it being really uncomfortable, honestly. I felt like I was the stepchild, like, you know, the way that he was with his other kids, he wasn't like that with me, so I wanted him to feel the way he felt about his other kids about me.
I did, but I wasn't really there either. You know, if I wasn't at work, I was ripping and running.
So, Ms. Shaw, I want to know from that point, you decided I'm not even going to be bothered with trying to prove that he is my daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But did you know for certain that he was, or did you say that because you knew you had a paternity doubt, but you just weren't going to be bothered with him because he lied?
He was not the only man that I had slept with.
Were you honest about that to Miss Thompson, your daughter?
Yes, she's known all her life.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matthews if you always knew that there was another possibility?
Because when my daughter would go to his house, most of the time she'd be there with his wife and kids. That's why she was crazy about his wife. His kids, those are like her siblings. But for him to come in, I want you, then I don't want you. I wanted to get it out the way while she was still young, that if he's not the father, I don't have to put her through this abuse anymore.
That is not what even happened. Because when she first told me that I was the dad, I didn't want to believe it because I was doing my own things. But every time I turned around, I was bringing you fish sandwiches when you was pregnant. Every time you turned around, you was like, babe, I'm hungry. And at the time, you had a husband, and here it is. Wait a minute, okay, but you had threw him out.
Yeah.
But then when I came over there, you had me rubbing your stomach and all that good stuff.
I had you rubbing my stomach.
And yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Stop that.
And here it is, talking about bring me a fish sandwich over to the house.
Yes.
So, and I'll tell you something, that fish sandwich is magical when you're pregnant.
Yes.
I used to crave those too. That was funny you said that. I said, now that testimony is true.
Yes. It was something, he worked the night shift, and every night when he would get off, he would come and feed me.
All right, then.
And rub my stomach.
So you remember that. But wait, I want to understand this. So you're pregnant, but your husband's somewhere else.
Right. Because
and
see, that's how that came
your
about.
lover's coming over to feed you some fish sandwiches.
Because my husband was still in and out at the same time when I got pregnant. But that 6 months, I had threw him out of the house. So he had him another girl. I went and got me 4 other guys. And was doing my thing. And that's what I did. It was a choice, but I was young and dumb. Didn't have a full understanding of the damage it could cause till many years later.
So you got pregnant, and you, in that moment, this tit for tat thing you were doing with your husband,
yes,
it got real.
Hey y'all, it's them.
It's Jaden.
It's Carly Hansen.
It's Oliver Tree. What's going on? It's Ian Dior, and we all know Valentine's Day is the most romantic time of the year.
Whatever. My friends and I are about to turn the whole holiday upside down in our new scripted holiday series, Valentine's Day in Hell.
First we spent Halloween in hell.
Now, you're invited to be a part of our next musical podcast from our In Hell series.
This time around, the devil is playing games with all of our hearts, trying to ruin our Valentine's Day plans by dragging us down to the depths of hell.
In each episode, you're going to hear new original music from artists like Ian Dior,
Jaden,
Carly Hansen, and me, Fem.
Tune into the Valentine's Day in Hell comedy horror musical podcast.
Subscribe for full episodes, bonus material, and original music. This February, check out Valentine's Day in Hell.
Brought to you by Audio Up and Podcast One. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Kiana, at what point did you hear that there could be another possibility besides Mr. Matthews?
I always knew that her husband at the time could have been my father. Mr. Brooks could have been my father, and Mr. Matthews. So I always knew that it could have been.
So you grew up knowing that there were at least 3 possibilities of who could be your father?
Yes.
Did you, in your mind, say, I would prefer this one or that one, I know this one better?
Yes.
Did they all treat you? Oh, you did have a preference.
Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Matthews was the man you wanted to be your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why him?
It was just the way that I saw him with his other kids.
Oh. When's the last time you saw Mr. Matthews?
I was a junior in high school, so it's been about 14 years.
Oh my goodness. So, Mr. Matthews, your testimony is true. You've been a pretty bad dad.
Yeah, I was a terrible father.
And that's why you're here, to right your wrongs.
Right, that's correct. I enjoyed my life,
Amen.
You're right. I mean, let's be honest.
Yes.
It's in the context of what your enjoyment was.
Right.
Kiana wasn't having that much fun.
Right.
That's true.
She was at your house watching you love on your other babies and wishing as a child that she could experience that same kind of love, but was feeling out of place.
Yes.
So I want to understand this. You have Kiana at your home. Your wife knows about Kiana.
Yes.
Did you accept in your mind that this is my daughter without question?
My grandmother, went over there and seen the baby because we're Miss Shaw was living at the time, you know, rumors fly around. First, my grandmother told my mother, then my mother told me, and I was like, nah, you know, I'm not gonna sit back there and say yes.
What did they say?
She said, well, the baby look like you. I said, no, it don't. I'm not gonna sit back because I didn't want my wife to know. Well, my mother told my wife.
Oh.
And when you're in them kind of circumstances, you don't want to sit back and admit that, you know, this a baby may be yours. But when I seen her, when I actually seen her face, I fell in love with her. But I wasn't sure that she was mine. But I had to follow what they said because they were the older ones. And my mom and my grandmother, they let me know, either you do what's right or we gonna do something to you.
So what did you think happened to your father, Miss Thompson?
Honestly, I just felt like he didn't want to be in touch with me.
Did it ever lead you to seek out the other?
No.
Well, you knew your mother's husband.
No, I didn't know him.
You didn't really know him either?
No, we tried to make it work for the kids' sake because we had 2 sons together. And after she was born, when he looked at her and he said, she's not mine. Because of that, I could take a lot and deal with a lot, but for her, I was all she had.
So who was at the hospital when she was born?
He came up there.
Yeah, I did.
He came
You
up there.
did?
Jody came up there.
Wait, who's
my
Jody?
husband? Well, Mr. Brooks.
So Mr. Brooks came,
Yeah.
Mr. Matthews came.
And my deceased husband, he came.
Oh, it was basically a circus at that time.
It was not a.
I mean,
was
we
no-
all-
Were all of you all up there together?
No.
No, they all knew exactly. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to this one. I'm doing this. I never lied to anyone about anything.
Yeah, you did.
What I lie about? What I lie about?
Well, I'm gonna interject with that.
Speak some truth.
I didn't know that you two were still together.
We wasn't. We were still married. So if anytime he come over, yes, he can come and stay.
Every time I came over there, you made me feel like I was comfortable at your house.
You was comfortable.
Yeah, you
Because
rubbing me
if
down, and
if
I mean,
tell you
you
to
cooking
come,
dinner.
Yes, I'm cooking dinner.
mean-
I'm sitting up there welcoming you because that's my house.
How can a woman sit back there and say that you was married, but you would sit back there act like you was married
Lord,
to
no,
me?
he didn't.
Oh, well, yes, I did.
Was I the only one married?
Well, it seems like you all have unfinished business on many levels.
A lot of the times I feel like he only wanted to be around me to be around her.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait, whoa.
Because there's a lot of times where she's like, oh, I talked to Mr. Matthews today, and she would talk to him, and I hadn't talked to him for 10 years. So how can you talk to her, but you're not talking to me?
I tried.
He only tried within the last 2 years, and the only reason why I even responded to him was because my husband. But
He encouraged you.
right, but the reason why I didn't is because you're here 1 year, then you're gone 5 years or longer, you know? So I'm really a guarded person, and I guard my heart. and
She's
so,
stubborn, because I'm stubborn. I'm a funny acting person. I'm gonna be the first one to admit it. I mean, and it don't leave you out either, because you funny acting too. I mean, like, we came
You
over
two
there.
are something else. I mean, with the flirting you two are
Oh,
doing.
no.
So,
What you mean, no.
But, anyway, after the way that things went with
I
him.
see why you wore your little suit too now, Mr. Matthews. I said, he's real ready for court, ain't he? Go ahead. What are you about to say, Miss Shaw?
Oh God, is the one that's been consistent was Mr. Brooks. He's the father of my youngest son, and a lot of her, like the way she favors his mom, and whatever she needed, he was always there.
Did she ever tell you that she believed Mr. Brooks was really your biological father?
She did, as I
She
got
did.
older. He also writes me on Facebook, and he'll talk to me and stuff, but I just don't see it.
What's interesting is Mr. Matthews is here to prove that he is your biological father. Your mother is here to prove that Mr. Brooks is your biological father. Who do you believe is your biological father?
A part of me wants to believe that Mr. Matthews is my biological father.
What part of you is that?
I guess the little girl part of me that always wanted to have a dad, and I'll never know what it's like to go to a father-daughter dance like my husband takes my daughter to, and being able to have that bond, I would never know that.
I mean, that really had to be confusing. And you said as a child, everyone had their dad.
Even like my brothers, because she has 4 kids, so all my brothers had their dads, and I was just the only child who didn't have a dad.
I want you to take this opportunity to tell Mr. Matthews what it felt like. I mean, he's testified over and over again how much fun he was having.
I'm a guarded person because of it. It definitely affects me then, and it still does now. And I I've been wanting this for a long time.
When I heard you say that I would be at his house and I would watch him love the other children and he didn't love me the same, that broke my heart. But that you were still excited to be there because you felt that there was a chance that he would love you the same. No child should have to sit through that. And it's okay to tell people, while you were out having fun, I was living in fear. Because to live with your guard up your whole life, that's difficult too.
It's a bad way.
Jerome, let's get the results for this family. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the case of Matthews versus Thompson Shaw, when it comes to 29-year-old Kiana Thompson, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Brooks is not her father. What are you feeling in this moment, Ms. Shaw?
That's what she needed. Be the father. He not gonna be there. And I know Mr. Brooks would.
Hey, this is Adam Carolla. Let me tell you about my podcast. We do it every single day, so you can subscribe, and there'll always be a fresh one waiting for you. It's about 2 hours of topical topics, and news, and guests, and comedians, and, of course, my own vitriolic take on just about everything that's going on in the world. Plus, we get a lot of really interesting, notable people who come in. We'll get politicians, we'll get tastemakers, we'll get stand-ups, we'll get authors, we'll get pundits, we'll get, I think about covers it all, celebrities as well. And we'll do some really interesting interviews with them. You can get The Adam Carolla Show wherever you download your podcast.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Matthews versus Thompson Shaw, when it comes to 29-year-old Kiana Thompson, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. I'm so sorry, Kiana.
Wow.
Neither gentleman is her biological father.
She'll always be mine no matter what. I love her.
Was that something you had prepared yourself at all for, honey?
No.
I'm sorry. Ms. Shaw, I want to understand this. So there were potentially 5 men who could be her biological father.
It was my husband and 4 other. Mm-hmm.
Do we know where the other 2 men are?
One is deceased, and then there's one, and he's in Philadelphia.
You know how to reach him?
Yes, I do.
All right. Thank goodness for scientific developments, the things we have the ability to do as a court to help people solve these particular types of paternity issues. And this courtroom is here for you so that we can get her the answer she needs concerning who her father really is. I wish you all the very, very best of luck. Court is adjourned. Can you come up here for a second? Jerome, will you bring Kiana up? I'm so sorry. I really want to get you the answer. Even though it seems like it's a brick wall, it's really just another door opening. Your husband is right to encourage you. I'm thankful you have him to support you and stand by you and lift you up. I know it seems so messy and so cloudy, and sometimes you just feel like you want to give up.
Yeah.
But don't. Don't ever give up.
For the full audio-visual experience of Lauren Lake's Paternity Court, check paternitycourt.tv for local listings, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/paternitycourt, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Paternity Court TV and at Lauren L. Lake.